this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it, it's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken. If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it, it's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken.
And shalom to each and every one of you. So glad to have you with us today, right here on the broadcast of the Bible Book Club. You and I are glad to be alive today. I trust that you're having a wonderful opportunity at faith and what grace would look like and what grace is. Let's get started. Let's get right into the word of Yahweh, who is our Elohim. It is a time for us to learn and to grow and to grace ourselves with him, that we might know his truths. Welcome again to the Bible Book Club. Let's take opportunity to pray. Father, we come before you in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, blessing, exalting, and extolling your name for who you are and why you are in this space and in this time. You alone are holy, you alone are righteous, and you are our Elohim. We magnify you, we exalt you, we extol you, and we lift your name on high. How awesome is it that we get to know you, that we get to express and to understand who you are in our lives and make these things clear for us each and every day. We love you, we magnify your name, we thank you for the things that you have graced us with, the places that you have placed us in, and we magnify your name because there is literally none like you in all of the earth. And you alone are holy, you alone are righteous, you alone are our Elohim, and we magnify you in this space and place for just that. Grace us now today with your word. Show us as I decrease, that your word would increase, all things that are you, all places that are of you, all ways that are of you. We ask this knowing that you hear, and only you can answer things of your word that you answer for us in your word. We magnify it. We exalt your word. I need your blood to cover me, and we need your blood to cover us in all things that we are just living through day by day. Grace us today to know you rightly, to understand you clearly, and we will place our minds and our hearts in your hands. To you now be glory, honor, dominion, might, and power, both now and literally forever, in the precious name of Yeshua HaMashiach, our Savior and our King. You are Elohim. Amen. Good to be with you all today. We're going to get started into where we left off in our last broadcast, and we knew that to be, as it were, the book of Bereishit, the book of Genesis, chapter and number 27. We stopped off at around verse 30. All of you that are with us, of course, on our live stream on this and our YouTube and I think it's Facebook we do also. We need you to hit that heart sign, like sign. Let us know that you are here. Drop your nation, your country, or your state, your city, whatever that looks like to you. Let us know where you're hailing from, and we would just love to pray with and about you for this time. We want to say thank you again for all of your help in carrying the gospel to all the world. We want everyone to embrace this opportunity to study his writ. All right, we get a little bit interesting here when we start talking about this, and we only have a few people on right now, and most people, as we start reading the writ, look at it differently than we do. But we want you to know the word of Elohim and its clarity and its truth and its way and its space, so that we can all have his words rightly in our head. That's a very important thing that many overlook. I see you, London, England. Good to be with you again. Also, I see you, New Jersey. Hey, good to see you. North Jersey, actually. I also see you. All right, California. Good to see you guys. Sunny Cali. All right. Good to have you guys with us. Jamaica. Where you day? All right. That was bad. That was bad. That was bad. My bad. My bad. All right. Let's get started in this study for tonight. We don't want to waste a great deal of time. Hey, Bay Area, West Coast. Bay Area, West Coast. That's California, right? Bay Area is West Coast. Okay. Because there's also San whatever, California. All right. I see you, Jersey. Let's open up our writ. I'm going to put my Bible up on the screen so we can all see and read. And let's just get started talking about the word of our Elohim. All right. So in Genesis, Bereishit, chapter number 27, we're going to skim through because we've been through most of this. Hey there, Jamaica. I see you down there. We want to go ahead and get going here also on Genesis chapter number 27. I'm going to skim through this to get us down to verse 30, where it appears we stopped on our last broadcast. Those of you who are on our clubhouse, please make some chats inside of, hey, Cuffy, good to see you today. Evangelist Peacock, hey. We want to make sure that you guys get opportunity to chat in the room. And of course, we want you to also speak, not just chat with your fingers, but speak. We're going to read passages. You have right to talk to us, talk to me about what you see, something that did not make sense to you or something that blew your mind. Say it, please. That's what the Bible Book Club is about. Any book club, you talk about the Bible or the book, the chapters you're reading. So I want you guys to talk. I can't be the teacher doing all the talking all the time. I talk too much in the course of the day. So let's do this together. I'm going to skim through Genesis 27, verses 1 through 30. And then when we get to 30, we'll pick up from there. Verse 1, Genesis 27. It came to pass when Isaac was old, his eyes were dim so that he could not see. He called his son Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, my son, behold, here I am, said his son. Verse 2 says, behold, I'm old, son. I know that my day of death is coming. Verse 3, now therefore take, I pray you, your weapons of your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and make me and take me some venison, and make me that savory meat such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat it, that my soul may bless before I die you. Verse 5, Rebekah heard when Isaac spoke to Esau, his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and it began and to bring it to him. Verse 6, Genesis 27:6, Bereishit 27:6. Rebekah then spake to Jacob, her son, saying, behold, I heard your father speak unto Esau, your brother, telling him to bring the venison and make that savory meat that I like, and that I may bless you before Yahweh, before my death. Verse 8, now therefore, my son, says Rebekah to Jacob, obey my voice, according to that which I have commanded you. Verse 9, go now to the flock, go fetch me 2 kids of the goats. I know how to make the meat taste like he like it, okay? Go get it. I'll make the meat for his father. Verse 10, and thou shalt bring it to your father, so he may eat it, that he may bless you before his death. Verse 11, Jacob said to his mom, Esau's my brother. He's a hairy man. I'm a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, mom, and I shall seem to be to him a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. His mother said unto him, son, listen to my voice. Verse 13, upon me, if I'm wrong, upon me be this curse. Upon me be this curse. My son, only obey my voice and go fetch me them. He went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids on the goats upon his hands and upon his smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, my father, here I am. Who art thou, my son? Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done according as you have bade me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that your soul may bless me. Isaac said unto his son, how is it that you found it so quickly, my son? He said, because Yahweh your Elohim brought it to me. Isaac said to Jacob, come near, that I may feel you, my son, whether you be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac, his father. He felt him. He said, the voice of Jacob's voice. You got the voice of Jacob, but your hands are the hands of Esau. He discerned him not because his hands were hairy, just like his brother Esau's. So he baruched him. He blessed him. Verse 24, he said, art thou my very son Esau? He said, I am. He said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, come near now, and kiss me, my son. He came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, blessed him, and said, smell the smell of my son. It is the smell of a field which Yahweh has blessed. Therefore, Elohim give you the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let the people serve you. Let the people serve you. And nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone that curseth you. Blessed be everyone that blesses you. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone from out the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau, his brother, also came in from his hunting. Now we pick up in verse 31. Verse 31, where we start now. He also made savory meat, Esau did, and he brought it unto his father. And he said unto his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that your soul may bless me, daddy. Isaac his father said unto him, who are you? And he says, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that has taken venison and brought it to me, that I've eaten of it, all of it before you came, and have blessed him? Yea, he who I blessed shall be blessed. Verse 34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceeding bitter cry and said unto him, Father, bless me even also, my father. And he said, son, your brother came with subtlety and have taken away the blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright. And behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. He said, hast thou not anything in reserve to bless me with, Father? Verse 37, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, son, I have made him your master, and all of his brethren have I given to him for servants, and corn and wine. By that have I sustained him in blessing him. And what shall I do now unto you, my son? Esau said unto his father, Hast thou not even one blessing for me, my father? Bless me, even me. Bless me, Father. Bless me, Father. Please. Father, bless me. Please, Father, not just, don't you have one blessing for me, Father? And Yitzhak, his father, answered and said unto him, oh, behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above, and your sword shall you live. By your sword, Esau, shall you live, and shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when you shall have the dominion, that you break his yoke from off your neck. And at that moment, Esau hated Jacob, because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then, after the days of mourning, I will kill my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, 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 behold. Okay, listen. Look, listen. Hey, be quiet. Listen, boy. Listen. Your brother Esau, as touching you, he comforts himself in knowing he is purposing to kill you. Now, listen to me, Jacob. Listen, boy. Therefore, my son, obey my voice one more time. Arise. Flee to Laban. Go to my brother in Haran. And I want you to tarry with him a few days until your brother's fury is turned away, until your brother's anger turn away from you, and he forget that which you have done to him. Then I will send and fetch you from there. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Yitzhak, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these, which are of the daughters of this land, what good shall my life do me? Genesis 28, Bereishit 28, verse 1 says, and Yitzhak from that called Jacob, and he blessed him, and he charged him, and he said to Jacob, do not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padam Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And El Shaddai bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, that you may be a multitude of people, and give you the blessing of Abraham to you and to your seed that are with you, that you may inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which Elohim gave Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Paddan Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel, the Syrian, brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. And when Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Paddan Aram to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and that he had left and gone to Paddan Aram. Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, it was then that Esau went in unto Ishmael and took unto the wives which he had Maheth, the daughter of Ishmael, who was Avram's son, the sister of Nehaboth, to be his wife. And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran. Now I'm going to stop at verse 11, because many of you may have questions of what we've read from Bereishit 27:31 through to Bereishit 28:11-10. I'm curious, what are you guys hearing, and what have you seen? What are you understanding? What are your thoughts? What are your questions? Welcome to the Bible Book Club. Any questions or thoughts?
This is Sade.
Sade, shalom to you.
Shalom. My immediate thought was how, despite the trickery, the covenant was, the covenant was binding. He handed over his birthright, but it was binding, even though he didn't. He regretted later. I just found that profound, that certain things we do, even if we understand or we don't, it's binding.
True. I want you to slow it down, though, because there's two pieces here to what you're saying. So which he trickery and which binding are we talking about? The blessing or the birthright?
The birthright that he sold over, or he handed over to his older brother.
Now, so that's where I got to slow you down. So that part's no trickery. The birthright Esau gave.
Got you. Yes.
He gave that up because he wanted something to eat.
Okay.
And
yes, I see.
And he made a mockery of that, saying, what's the birthright going to do me if I'm dead? Take this birthright. He gave it away. This is why Yahweh hated Esau. Now, Sade, you raise a good point, which is why I have to slow, because it is binding. The birthright is binding. Does anybody know where we saw the birthright manifest? Do you know? Did anybody know? Because we're talking about two different things. We're talking about a birthright and a blessing. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you. Antoinette Foster, I'm going to come back and deal with that question and that statement you made, Antoinette, because that's bigger than you think. I really want to address that. because I think I want everyone to hear that statement you made, because so many did. Now listen, when Esau gave away he wasn't tricked out of any birthright. Esau was never tricked out of a birthright. Esau was never tricked out of a birthright. But the question here isn't about the birthright. The question here is about the issue. The question that the statement Sade raises and the conversation she's having with us is that there are two things at play here. One's a birthright and one's a blessing of Abraham. You see, now the person to receive the blessing of Abraham should in fact be the one responsible for the birthright. See, the birthright is a responsible party. That's the big brother of the family. So when it comes to the birthright, and then when it comes to a blessing that can be passed on, one must understand these are two separate things. And this is where Christendom loses itself trying to be intelligent, I guess. So remember, you're talking about two different things. Esau never got tricked out of giving away the birthright. He gave that away because he was hungry.
Wow. I see what you're saying, Apostle. Thank you.
Oh, no, we're not done, child. You're going to be on here for a minute. Stay right there. You ain't park, get a seat, sit down. Here we go. Listen, because this is where I got to help Christianity understand that Jacob was not who we've been calling Jacob all these years. If you've paid attention to these two chapters, you see Esau's diabolical, mean-spirited, irresponsible, directly disrespectful and disobedient spirit, which is why if you really pay attention to the nature of Esau, Antoinette's question, I'm going to incorporate, Sade, do you mind if I incorporate Antoinette's statement into your question while I give you an explanation for your question?
Sure, go right ahead.
Antoinette, I need you to give me a thumbs up or a yes, it's okay. May I address your statement in this question's filling this question in? Antoinette, if you're out there still on Facebook, give me a thumb up or a finger or a yes or something to say, yes, I'm okay with you bringing my statement into that question. Because the question and the statement that Miss Antoinette makes, okay, she gives me the go ahead. All right, Antoinette Foster, I'm going to put the question on the board for everybody to see it. The statement. She says, I think the moment that he handed over his birthright, he lost everything. So Esau knows that he sold his birthright to his brother two separate times. Once for a bowl of lentils. He gave it away because he was selfish as all get out. Now, if you were with us earlier when we began reading the story here of Yitzhak, Jacob, and Rebekah, I should say Yitzhak and Rebekah having the twins born, you saw the prophecies of Yahweh to Rebekah. And though Yitzhak never got the what's that called, the message, the email, never got the memo, sorry, by the time that these blessings are about to be disseminated and to be given over, Rebekah has to make this move. Rebekah's never disobeyed her husband, ever, as we can tell from the written. Never. There's never any indication that she was trickery. I ain't calling her a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no. So she wasn't ever trying to be a gold digger. She didn't need to. She wasn't digging for gold. She had what she had. She got a blessing. The camels already came for her. Blessed Laban. Abraham took care of her. She ain't never got to worry about a thing. Yitzhak is the son of Abraham. He gets the inheritance. She is not gold digging. She was minding her business and somebody found her. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. Abraham sent his servant to go and find him a wife for his son, and they went looking for her. Rebecca is not a gold digger. She did not need anything more than what they'd already had, and therefore when she in fact got to see Yitzhak, jumped off her horse, met him in the field, they came together, took him into his mother's tent. Sarai, who had passed away, received the blessing of Abraham, married that woman, and she is technically the queen. She is not gold digging. Rebecca was not in some plot to scheme Yitzhak out of money. She's the queen outright. And here's the funny thing. When Yitzhak dies, everything Yitzhak has goes to his queen. Until she's dead, it doesn't get disseminated to the next born. So why would she be plotting to literally steal from her husband? First part. Let me bring you back into why the question and the statement of Antoinette and the question of Sade are relevant here. So everybody says that Rebecca and you know, the son Jacob, mama's boy, schemed against daddy and daddy's boy. Daddy is responsible for this foolishness that took place. Daddy saw something at the time of birth and did what he saw rather than what the word stated. Rebecca, in this moment, had to tear down what daddy's words put on that son, and she did what the word stated, that the elder son would serve the younger son, meaning that the younger son was who the birthright was to go to. And she, wow. Watch this, and she did what all these other wives need to understand. She was the greatest helpmeet we have in the Bible. Because even when Yitzhak, in his old age, being the man, he's the middleman. Yitzhak is only a man carrying the blessing from the promised blessed. Okay, let me say it this way. Abraham was promised the blessing. Yitzhak is a child that would carry the blessing to who the promise would be manifested by. So he's like the middleman. He's like a conduit, but he was not responsible for his charge. He was about to give the blessing away to Esau. Why is that a problem? Rebecca helps Yitzhak meet the goal Yahweh gave him. We don't like the way it was done. In our coach from the couch mentality, we're looking in hindsight. We're looking at a story already told, and we want to judge it. But Rebecca was the greatest helpmeet I find in the Bible. She helped Yitzhak please the father, even though Yitzhak already put an order in not to please the father. If he would have blessed Esau, I'll show you later on in chapter 28 how much grief that would have brought Yahweh. But she helped Yitzhak. Somebody shout, she was a helpmeet.
She was a helpmeet. She was a helpmeet.
Now, here is the thing I want you to look at in this text. When Rebecca hears what her husband's about to do, she's always an earshot away from her husband. She's the helpmeet, right? She hears what Yitzhak is about to do. She remembers the prophecy that Yahweh gave her. She never spoke back to her husband when he named Israel Jacob. Say it again. Jacob's name should have never been Yaakov. The name was always supposed to be Israel. But because of what Jacob saw with his eyes, he commented on with his mouth, making it as king a decree. So now the boy's name is Heel Grabber. In the sense of a thesaurus, related to a swindler, related to a supplanter, related to a liar. So when Jacob is named, he misnamed the boy. Because the name that Yahweh had for Jacob was Israel. And if Yitzhak, like many of us, would stop living by sight and live by faith, we would not put ourselves through this trekking of error that has to be corrected by any means necessary. Uh-oh, we about to get deep. So when Yitzhak names the baby Jacob, when the baby grows up and is now in proper position, an angel has to come and tell him in chapters 28 through 29, your name should have never been Yitzhak, Jacob. Your name should have been Israel.
Wow.
Right. Bigger wow than you think. And if Jacob did something that grieved the soul of Yitzhak so badly, why would Yitzhak bless his son to leave? Why would Yitzhak bless his son and tell him what to do and leave, knowing that this is a supplanter moment? No. Why would Yahweh allow for the angels to come and accompany Jacob if he was such a liar? Because a liar shall not tarry in Yahweh's sight. So apparently something had to be done. It is better to obey Elohim than man. And Rebecca, y'all gonna stop talking about this woman like she was a traitor and some gold digger. And you're gonna stop talking about Jacob like he was a liar. Did he lie in this moment? He said, I am your son. He did say it.
Wow.
But that's the way Christianity's preach this. Now watch this. If Jacob was such a liar and such a villain here, why is it that Yahweh hates Esau? Whoa! Exactly. I'm going to say it again because I want the people in the back to hear it. I don't think y'all heard it. Let me say it one more time. If Jacob was such a liar and one Yahweh don't want blessed and one Yahweh did not prophesy, why in fact did the Bible declare that Yahweh hated Esau?
That part.
Now, for those that want to know why he hated him, let's go back to Antoinette's statement that I put on the screen on Facebook. There's a lot of writing on Facebook and YouTube, but I want y'all to look at it. You got the Bible, right here, right? That's the Bible. And then you got her statement down here, which is in connection with a question we have on Clubhouse, which you visually can't see, but you can hear. So let me make sure we get this clear. Antoinette says, I think the moment that Esau handed over his birthright, Esau lost everything. In Esau's mind, Esau knew the value of the birthright. Otherwise, he wouldn't complain about it. Otherwise, there'd been no conversation about it. So it indicts that birthright and the passage for birthright, the understanding of birthright, is a very real and powerful thing. And for those of you who think that the blessing that Yitzhak put on him, the blessing that Abraham passed to Yitzhak, Yitzhak passed to Jacob, Jacob passed to Israel, the blessing, those two are separate, very much separate. Let me show you how powerful it is to understand about the birthright. Does anybody want to join me in this conversation? Antoinette, I'm coming to your point. I promise you, your reason I'm talking about this. Does anybody know why or where in the Bible during the spring, hint, hint,
See, Marie.
does the birthright become such a significant thing? See, Maria, I guess you're biting at the bit to talk about it. What you got?
The birthright came in when Yahweh went into Egypt to claim the birthright during Exodus. During the Exodus of the Israel children from Egypt during Pesach.
During Pesach, Yahweh went to claim the birthright. That wasn't the blessing, though it's a blessing, a very important blessing. Since you're so versed on this, C. Marie, birthright of what did he take?
The birthright of the firstborn.
Of? Anybody want to help your sister?
The firstborn of all the children of.
Okay. Anybody want? You struggling?
Man and beast.
There. Who is that? Say your name, please. Who is that?
Daphne. Oh.
Who was that? Thank you, Daphne. But who was that I heard earlier? Who was that spoke up with the right
Yolanda.
answer? Yolanda. So what? Yolanda, make it clear. What did he take? What birthright did he take?
He took the birthright. Oh, the firstborn of both man and beast.
The birthright of both man and beast. You know why? Because Egypt had their men, and the initial deal when Usef went in and called Jacob into Egypt, they were shepherds. Egypt didn't like shepherding, though a necessity. Israel loved shepherding because they had the dew of heaven on their very life. And for all those years, 400 plus, after Jacob was dead, after Usef died, after the pharaohs that didn't know Usef's story and how they helped Egypt, basically, or didn't care about it, they took control of everything Israel had. That meant the birthright of both the sons and the daughters and the animals. Yahweh went and took it back. Y'all don't hear that. The birthright blessing is so important. Yahweh came down. Y'all don't want to hear me on this. I want to try to help people understand this. Yahweh came down from his throne to go into Egypt himself and take, not a death angel. Yahweh went himself to grab what he initiated. Give me back what you took from those I put this on. He took back the blessing of the birthright from both man and beast and gave it back to Israel. You made Yahweh come off his throne to get something back that he put down here a while ago. Don't y'all think that that's significant?
Very.
Yahweh got off his throne to bring back what he had given. And we need to recognize and understand that. Then he blessed them. Now watch this. The blessing of the birthright is different from the blessing for provisions. Because once Yahweh in Pesach, he brought back what should have always been there, but Pharaoh and Egypt took. Then he told Israel, after he got the birthright back, now y'all go into Egypt and ask them for some money that you're not going to have to pay back. Tell them, y'all want me out? How much is going? How much is it worth to you for me to be gone in the morning? Y'all don't like those words because it's not the way your Bible wrote it, but I promise you, if you put it in context, that's exactly what happened. So before he told them to go get the money, he made sure they had their responsibility and their God-given right. Because you can't take care of the firstborn, husbands, wives. You can't take care of children if you ain't got that money. So once he gave them back the birthright, he then said, let me get you something to sustain you until your birthright kick in. This is why I love teaching the feast. And most people don't take the time to talk about it because it takes a minute to open it up. Do y'all get that?
Yes. If I may ask, is the birthright a particular type of blessing?
Who is that? Who's talking?
Sorry, this is Sade.
Hi, Sade. Yes, it is a particular type of blessing. Very much so. The type of blessing that you and I glean from every day, and the fact that our Savior is the firstborn. First to crack the matrix. He is the proof of the birthright. That's why he is the first fruits. See,
thank you.
That good question. The carrier of the birthright is the one who manages the kingdom, is the one who brings the prosperity to the family. It gets passed on to the firstborn. That's why our Savior is still alive. We don't have to pass on the birthright blessing any longer because he's still alive. Okay, theologians.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Thank you.
Just her got that? We don't get that. That's why we don't have an issue with the birthright anymore. Because the first fruits, which is why Pesach is so important. When you acknowledge the first fruits, it's the first fruits that keeps your businesses prosperous. It's the offering to Yahweh, the first fruits. Some of us have a version of that we like to call it the tithing, but it's not. The tithe is the actual substantiation for the first fruits. You can't get the first fruits without the tithe. That means obedience. But when the first fruits come, the first fruits are what make your family, make your business, make your ministry, make your marriage what's going to be whole, what's going to be voluminous in its income, which will be in perpetuity. That's why when you disrespect first fruits, whether it's in the spring, Pesach, or the one coming up next Thursday at sundown, May the 25th, which is Sivan the 6th. When you don't understand the power of the birthright, you disrespect any blessing Yahweh's giving you. So all the gold they could have had would have amounted to nothing if they didn't have the blessing of the birthright. And mind you, he got that first, then told him to go get money. I'm going to keep moving. So Antoinette Foster's question or statement amidst the question that we have on the platform with, I think it's Sade, is Antoinette says, I think that the moment he gave away his birthright, he felt he lost everything. He did. Because no matter what's given to him, watch this, the only way he will ever get more, he doesn't find out until the end. Esau, that is. Esau does not find out until the end how he gets what he gets. Because when he gave away the firstborn birthright, he gave away responsible partnership for the company, responsible partnership and responsibility for the family. Whoever carries the birthright is responsible for the family. That's why you and I go to Yeshua. He's responsible for the family. I feel like teaching a little bit. Y'all mind?
Help yourself.
So Antoinette, whether you knew what you made a statement of or not, he did lose everything. He wasn't going to have it anyway, because Yahweh's plan was for Israel to have it. but he knew the value of the birthright. It is something that the culture talked about on a regular basis. They knew the value of the birthright. That's why Yitzhak thought nothing about it when he says, my oldest son, time to pass the birthright before I die. So if you got any questions, I can be your guide. I can be your bag of wisdom while you're processing through what this looks like to be responsible for the whole family and all that we've amassed. Y'all starting to get this now? If y'all getting it, come off mic and type it in on chat, type it in on YouTube and or Facebook. On the count of 3, say the birthright.
The birthright.
The birthright.
That was real shallow.
The birthright. You didn't count, right? You didn't count.
Oh, I didn't count? My bad. Well, let's try that again.
You didn't count.
If you get it, I want you to say on the count of 3, say the birthright. 1, 2, 3.
The birthright.
The birthright.
And you're not going to hear this in Christendom this way unless you've actually got people who are mindful of the truths of the etiquettes and of the culture of the time. That's why Messiah is our first fruits. He is the first to crack the matrix of Miriam. And to disrespect that is a problem. He came through, watch this, as the barley harvest first fruits, and he is also the wheat harvest first fruits. This is why you honor the first fruits. You bring Yahweh the first fruits, because it's the first fruits that determine when Yahweh prunes it and takes it from you, that it may bring forth much more fruit. So when Messiah was taken, he brought forth who you and I now know ourselves to be as believers in he who hung on the cross. Are we not a massive amount of people over time?
Yeah, absolutely.
This goes deeper. This goes deeper than some run around the church and it's not on the altar. So when you understand that Yahweh came down out of heaven to claim back the firstborn of man and beast, we don't pay attention to that. He says, I'm going to go through Israel. I'm going to go through Egypt, and I'm going to slay the firstborn of both man and beast. I'm going to do it. Nobody?
Amen.
He goes through and says, I'm coming. When you eat the lamb, put the blood on the doorposts and lintels, eat it in that house. I'm coming through with a sword. And if you're under the blood, I won't take you. I won't pull from you that birthright if you are firstborn of human or beast. But those who are not under the blood, I'm taken out of Egypt, what Egypt literally took and exploited from Israel. There were no coincidences in Egypt and Israel's shepherding in Goshen. And then Yahweh substantially benefited them once he gave them back that birthright. He took it from Egypt because Egypt basically exploited it from Israel. Took it back. So when y'all hear the song, going up to the high places to take back what the enemy took from us. Right. Okay. Let's get through to the question. So Antoinette Foster, when he gave up the birthright, he did. He lost everything. He lost being responsible. Now you gave that responsibility to somebody else who technically was slated for it, but your rambunctiousness out of the womb is what got you put in a position in your father's mind that you'd have the birthright. Now you're being told about the birthright. Apparently it's something they talk about, because Jacob ain't gonna just sit around and talk about the birthright. Esau's not gonna be talking about the birthright. It must be something that Yitzhak knew from Avraham that was very important. I wish I could help some people today. And so while this is going on, Esau is out here being who he is, cavalier, and he's hunting, comes back. Listen, let me show you how petty this was when he sold his birthright. Jacob is making lentil soup in the woods. So that means that Esau is very close to home base, though as a hunter, you go far away from home base because the animals move away from human activity. So you go out far away to hunt. It can be a long, daunting journey. If you don't have any success, you got a long, daunting journey back. So you're hungry. But if you're sitting where Jacob is at this point and you meet Jacob coming back from the hunting field, then you know the camp is not too far away. But you stop at Jacob's pot of lentils while he's shepherding the flock, and you beg him for some lentil, and then you sell your birthright for a bowl of beans, soup. You disrespected the office of the birthright and the blessing that went along with it. Therefore, Yahweh hated Esau.
Oh my, wow. Okay. Okay, get it. We get it now.
Now, Jacob valiantly goes after the birthright, and his mother backs him. The one that Yahweh spoke to about the prophecy and spelled it all out. How they got there, it don't look right, but it is right. If you're learning, would you please help me in my chats on Clubhouse? My chats in Clubhouse be so dry. And could y'all just put on YouTube and Facebook, just type in, I'm learning. Just, I'm learning, please. That's all. Now, so Antoinette Foster, he does lose everything because he's lost the ability, once dad and mom are gone, to run the nation. Right. Yeshua is our firstborn. He is the first fruits. And he's yet alive. So he is the perpetual firstborn. And we under him fall. Here's where the losing everything comes in, Antoinette. He does lose the ability to run it innately and the blessing that comes along with it innately. However, he doesn't lose everything because by his selling it, it gets into the hands of the one who will make sure everybody under the blood covenant gets what's due the blood covenant. Only Jacob could have been able to sustain, only Israel could have been able to sustain the blessing that came with the birthright and the blessing of Abraham that came to the person with the blessing of the birthright. Jacob was a homebody, but Jacob was an accountant. Jacob was an attorney. Jacob was a butcher. Jacob was almost technically a priest. Jacob was compliant to government. Jacob was the vizier to government. And Jacob was being primed and groomed to be government. I know we don't look that deep into it because technically we're Christians. But you don't have the faith we have without this culture that it comes from. So when we call Jacob a liar and all of this and all of that, and his mom's a gold digger and all this, we are so out of order. And we don't know the word. We know church, but we don't know the word. And we wonder why we don't see the blessing of Yahweh bestowed upon us.
Montgomery.
So he does lose everything, but fortunately, who he lost it to would be responsible. Y'all want to watch this? This is deep. Who he lost it to would literally be responsible for making sure he didn't lose anything. The one the one he lost it to would be the one responsible enough as the adult in the room to make sure that even Esau, who sold it, did not lose his reward in the blessing. Let me tell you how this happens. Can I speed y'all up 4 chapters?
Please.
Absolutely.
Even when Laban screws over Jacob, makes him marry these 4 women, gives him these 12 children, the blessing that's in this chapter, chapter 27 and chapter 28, that falls to Israel, that falls to Jacob, the dew of heaven and the earth producing and the firstborn and the corn and the wine and abundance and perpetuity, that blessing that falls on him is resting on him in Laban's house, exploited by Laban, but it does. And then he uses it to get himself a golden parachute. His golden parachute is so thick and so rich, he's able to leave as a little small nation. When he leaves, he knows he's got to cross his brother who vowed to kill him. You just read it. And his brother, whose heart's changed over 20 some odd years, sees him coming because he's over the 12 nations around him. He is a king. Esau is a king. But he's a reckless king. When Jacob comes through, Jacob breaks up and divides his entire wealth, at least of his cattle. And he's got buku cattle. Buku. And he splits it up, I think, into 3 or into 4. Either way, I think it's 3. And he says, you guys go this way with my children and cattle. You guys go this way with my wives, children, and cattle. I'm going to go this way. And I want everybody to offer everything you got to Esau and his men. Did y'all hear what I said? He offered and told them and commanded them, offer everything you have to Esau and his men. And maybe he'll have mercy on us. And if he kills a group, it won't be all of us. And we'll all get word and we'll hear the ruckus and we can all break camp. But what he does is he offers all that he has to Esau, his brother. Y'all know how much this man made when he was living with Laban in those last few years? And he put those almond reeds inside those troughs and had them going in there and mating and getting the speckled and the spotted and the, you know how much he had? He gave all of it. Listen, y'all, I don't think y'all caught this in the Bible. He gave everything he had away to his brother Esau. And started over. That's the blessing Pesach puts on you. That's the heritage of Jacob. Y'all want to hear what that is? You keep hearing me read about it every month, every Saturday, every Sabbath. You hear me read Isaiah 58, and I'm trying to wait for somebody to say, it's been in there the whole time. I don't hear it yet, but it's okay. Let me show you in Isaiah 58 what it says. I'll come back to chapter 28 in a minute, but I want to show y'all what the heritage of Jacob looks like. Isaiah chapter 58. I'm going to put it on the board. Y'all can read it with me on screen. You can do it or you don't do it, but I'm going to show you what Isaiah 58 and how important this is. And y'all was worried about, oh, Sabbath keeping. Why you do Sabbath keeping? And you don't have to do Sabbath keeping and all of this. And then so you that don't qualify Sabbath keeping. That don't really show what that's about. Okay, here is what it means when you read this passage in Isaiah chapter 58, verses 13 through 14. If you turn away your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my holy day, if you will call the Sabbath a delight, call it holy, call it honorable, and then honor Yahweh by not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasures, nor speaking your own words, then shall you be found as delighting yourself in Yahweh. Verse now says, and I will cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth, and I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob, your
Come on.
Firstborn.
Now how y'all feel about Sabbath?
Well, ruined.
They're feeling great about it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yah.
Look at what he says. He says, when I find you doing verse 13, I'm going to cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth, and then I'm going to feed you with the heritage of Jacob. What is the heritage of Jacob? That when Jacob was running from Esau, leaving Laban, coming now into Esau's territory, he divided everything he had and then gave everything he had to his brother Esau as a peace truce offering to say, don't kill me, don't kill my family. I hope you understand what took place. I'm not even blaming mom. This is just the way it is. And here's the catch. See, when Yahweh knows that something is right and the person knows that they didn't deserve it, Esau knew he wasn't the guy for that blessing. He wasn't one responsible for that stuff. He couldn't even obey his mom and dad, let alone obey God for the nations. Miss me with that. Look at the story, read the story. So Esau, while Jacob is technically in subserviency, is being provided for by Jacob, because Jacob, when he left Laban's house, Jacob was set. He gave all of his stud sheep, stud goats, stud cows, stud donkeys, stud everything, and the ewes and the females. All of them he gave to his brother and his brother's kingdom. What a boost to your economy and your Federal Reserve, your Treasury Department.
Speak.
I'm trying to, but nobody's listening.
I'm listening.
We hear you.
We hear you.
So when he listen to the confidence this guy's got, he says, y'all divide yourselves up into three. I think it's 3 parts. It may have been 4. And y'all go, when y'all come across the people, we're going into some very treacherous land. I don't have time to tell y'all the story. Just know, do not talk back. Do not say nothing wild. Do not do anything weird. Just give him take your gold off. Just give him everything. Just give it to his men. Just give him all of this right here. Tell him it's from me. Tell them you're my sons and my servants, and here, just take everything. Jacob said to give you this. Each group that comes in contact with him, just here, this is for you. No questions asked. Just take it. Just let us pass, please. That's all he wanted, just to pass his brother. He knew his brother wanted to kill him for reasons. He didn't even give his brothers. He wasn't the reason his brother should be fighting with him. This is an Elohim thing, but his brother knew it in his heart. After 20 years of thinking about it, it's like, yeah, I was really goofy. His brother became a nation. 12 to be exact. Esau is the man, but he will always be subservient to Jacob. And yet Jacob, like Yeshua, came not to be served, but to serve. Oh, y'all gonna get that in a minute.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
And he gives him everything he has. And guess what? He has no qualms about the fact that he is able to start over just like that. Somebody say, that's the heritage of Jacob.
Yes. That's the heritage of Jacob. That's it.
Anybody want to do verse 13 from now on? I love it. Okay, that was only funny to me. All right. I keep making myself look bad. All right.
Real.
That's the heritage of Jacob. That's what Yahweh is talking about. If it comes to the point where you got to give up everything you got, don't worry about it. If Laban keep cheating you, don't worry about it. If your brother want to kill you for what he think he's supposed to have had, don't worry about it. Matter of fact, give it all to him. Let him all have it. Don't worry about it. If the other people who you went and stayed around and started digging wells for because you got the blessing of dew on you, like I put on you, don't worry about it. Let them have the wells. I'll teach you where the other wells are over here. I know all things. The heritage of Jacob is I can give away everything and Yahweh will give me back everything.
Wow.
Nobody ever taught y'all that, did they? You gonna learn today though, but it requires compliance. That's why the understanding of first fruits, knowing why you give first fruits, and knowing why you give tithing. Not because somebody says, you're gonna be cursed with a curse if you don't tithe. No, I wouldn't want to tithe either. You looking at me talking to me like that about what tithing is. You stupid. You ain't getting my money. I will punch you in your throat. That's the VWJ. That ain't the apostle speaking. That's not the apostle speaking. That's the VWJ in me. You know what I mean? From Jersey. Punching your throat. You want this? Yeah, come get it. Yeah. So here's the catch. When Yahweh puts that there, that's the heritage of Jacob. It don't matter what they take from you. And I'm a living witness. It don't matter how many times you lose out. It doesn't matter how many times something has been wrongly taken from you, mistakenly given away. Yahweh will always cause you to rebuild like it never happened. I just need about 12 people to shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Yah.
Hallelujah.
I only got 5. Okay, 6, 7. Yeah, they coming in online. Okay, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 11. Yahweh be praised. All right, we got 12. Okay, we got 12.
You're a walking blessing, in essence.
Yeah. And you're the type of blessing that does not do the my for and no more. So now that you guys got that, let's get back to the storyline. So there's a difference in the blessings. You have the blessing that is the birthright, and then he also talks about the blessing that was put on his head. This is why this is so important for Pesach and Shavuot as well. You can be free. You can have the birthright of the blessing, but you still need the blessing to be put on the person who responsible about the birthright. You can have the blessing, but you end up like the prodigal son. You out of order, and you'll squander whatever has been given. So many of us on this call have found ourselves in either situation separated from the sustainability of it. It's when you come back into understanding the Torah, come back into understanding the process of the feast, that you begin to realize what first fruits, why Pesach is the first born blessing and the barley blessing of first fruits. And then you understand why Shavuot is in fact the wheat, the gold, the we have come over blessing. Because now you've learned to be responsible. Yahweh did not give the Shavuot blessing to the people he brought out of Egypt. He gave it to the people he liberated through the wilderness who went into the Canaan, into the promised land. Then they got the Shavuot blessing.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
Maybe I didn't say it right. Pesach frees you. Shavuot liberates you. Birthright blessing, free. going through the wilderness, sets up in the new land. Now all you have is the birthright blessing. But when Yahweh has liberated you and you have the word, which gives you now the blessing on you, it magnifies the birthright blessing. Let me try it again.
Upon blessings.
Let me try it again. So if you left Egypt without the birthright blessing and just the gold you had, by the time you got to the promised land, all the stuff you did over 40 years, you will have squandered all that was given, and you would have had to work from the blessing of the Torah in the promised land. But what Yahweh did was, though he freed them, he did not take the mentality that wasn't free. He killed out over 40 years those who still had a subservient mindset. So when they came into Canaan, they had the birthright, they had liberation, they had new instruction, and they had the blessing put on them in the promised land. A responsible group of people. Now we know later they stopped obeying him, but that's the setup. So many of us have gotten free, but don't believe the word, so we don't have the blessing, though we come back into the birthright. And then there's those of us who just squander the birthright and got a little bit of blessing, and because we don't use the responsibility and the responsibility and the weight of being in control and a managing element, we squander what he gives us. We take blessings and think that they are rewards, and instead of using the blessings to make them tools so we can do the job that Yahweh has given us and he can say, well done, we squander it on a new pair of sneakers or a dress or a vacation, because we think that a blessing is a reward, when in fact the blessing is a tool. The reward is after you've built the kingdom and he says to you, well done, enter into my rest. That's a whole nother level of blessing.
Yahweh be praised.
I proclaim Shavuot is so near.
I proclaim Shavuot.
I proclaim Shavuot.
So,
Brianna.
Sade, did we get your second question answered?
You sure did.
Cool. I heard Montgomery.
Shalom.
Go.
The author had a question.
Okay.
Oh,
Come
it's
on.
firstborn, firstborn, birthright of the mother or father.
The firstborn is the birthright of the firstborn is the Zerah, the seed of the Zerah. The Zerah is the masculine seed. So it is the firstborn of the son, because that's the seed giver. Now, there is a school of thought, which I am more and more inclined to believe, that it rests upon it. The birthright rests upon either male or female, but the seed giver seemed to be the focus. So if the firstborn was a son, a seed giver, not the incubator, but the seed giver, it had a different level of not potency, but quantitative value, because it exemplified, or it exponentially increased the potential of the seed of that stud, that seed giver that cracks the matrix first, which is why the argument will always be that Yeshua had to be a male. That's why Yahweh called it the Zerah, the seed, the Zerah. The Zerah is the seed giving seed. And the seed of the woman, or the woman, is a seed incubator, which is so important because she incubates that one seed. And that's why I'm more inclined to believe that the school of thought that the birthright of the firstborn can rest upon both masculine and feminine, though it's always been portrayed as a masculine entity because of the seed potential. But, you can sow into bad ground good seed, and reduce the potential of that seed by the quality of the ground. So for me, the birthright on both male, the man, and beast didn't say gender, but we've relegated it to that masculine dominant mindset because of the misogyny and the male dominance and the masculine nature of the times the Bibles were written. But a proper fertile womb takes one seed and creates an orchard. So I'm just inclined, and I have to claim Deuteronomy 29:29, all things that, those things that have been revealed of the Father belong to the children, but those that have not been revealed, they belong to the Father. But I'm not finding anything that does not weigh out that firstborn blessing can be upon that female, as not just the male. So good question. Hope that helped the author. Let me know. I'm sure he's out there. Let me know you understand, or you got more to that question. All right. Who else we got?
Brianna.
All right, Brianna, go.
You stated that the blessing that we receive after, I believe.
Can't hear you, beloved. You got to talk in the mic.
You said, I'm trying to quote this right. You stated that after Pesach, when we receive our blessing, that blessing is to be used for the kingdom, not to be squandered. How do you know how to use, how do we use our blessings for the kingdom during that time, outside of just giving our tithes and keeping Shabbat?
Okay. I think the question, let me clear up what I think you're trying to get to. Blessings are a tool. Blessings are not a reward. That's what we say. That's what the word says. Blessings are a tool. Blessings empower you to prosper. You and I have a job in the earth. We don't get rewarded for our work in the earth until we've done the job. Blessings enable us to do the job. At the end, when payday is a coming, y'all remember that song? Payday is coming after a while. Payday is coming after. Y'all remember that song? Okay, anyway, so that when we get to that payday, that is when he says, to be absent from this body is to be present with the Lord. And when you're present with him, he's going to say to you, either depart from me because you were working iniquity, or he's going to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. So that's when you get your reward. You're either going to receive eternal damnation or you receive eternal rest in him, whole nother element of blessing. Now, when we talk about that in this natural realm, though it is spiritual, we have allowed ourselves to think, I'm blessed, I'm highly favored. Yes, favor is what Yahweh gives you. Just like if I am working for a company and I go down and I'm favored to help my company accomplish its goal at a vendor or at a competitor's place or at a marketplace, I'm helping my company who's hired me to do, and the favor and you want to call it the charisma that I may have is on me to keep engaged the people, the things that I need to engage to get the victory for my company. Then I carry that back to my company and they do what they do with it. I get a reward later by getting a paycheck. But when they bless me with a car, communications, they bless me with a stage, a platform, and equipment to present the kingdom, to present the company. Those blessings, if I take them and hawk them, if I take them and then use them for myself over in the corner so I can have my own little stage when I want to do my own little thing that'll compete against them, I'm taking the blessings as if they are rewards. They are tools to help me do the job they contracted me to do. That's what a blessing is. So when Yahweh blesses us, i.e. Shabbat, Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkah, those blessings are to keep in perpetuity the cycle of his blessing plan, his prosperity plan flowing in our lives. So we are to honor him first with all of our substance, because in the earth we are here to till the ground, to propagate his kingdom. In that abundance, when we make the blessings compliant to his requests, we then get the ability to live at a high level, but we do not, it's not a reward. So when you and I come into Pesach, which the blessings don't just show up the next day. So I don't want everybody thinking, oh, it's like sowing seed. That seed comes up, it takes time for that harvest to grow. And the harvest is that tree produces, that shrubbery produces, that vine produces for however long. As long as it's being taken care of, it'll keep producing and producing and producing. It's not a one-time harvest and the tree dies. So when we talk about blessings, they are there to help us live, eat, make beverage, food, nutrient. It's a perpetual provision. It's a tool to keep us living. It's not a reward. It's a sustaining entity. They are sustaining elements. We get greedy and you try to store up the fruits of the vine, well, they're going to mold after a while. They're going to ferment after a while. And if you don't make them quick enough into wine or some beverage, you lose the value of it. So you've squandered the blessing trying to make it a reward and store it up in the house, saying, look what I got. I got all the tools. I got all the toys. So a blessing is not a reward. A blessing is a tool to help you do the job in the earth, which requires you honoring his word, which requires you keeping his Shabbat, keeping his Moedim, and honoring the things of all of his commandments, be it tithing or whatever. But in that, he also takes care of you. So once you've come in to do the job, you're ever working for the Father. So every time we give our tithe, here's what's happening with the tithe giving. The tithe fertilizes the ground that we are and allows for our offerings, which are seeds. So the fertilized ground can receive seed that Yahweh gives us, right? When he says, hey, come before me, bring me this offering, that's a seed. When he says, from your income streams, give me the first 10th, that's fertilizer. If I can use that as an analogy, there are many more that can be used. I'm using that as an analogy. Don't come at me theologically, because I'll have to put you down. So I'm giving an analogy to sort of kind of give a visual here. Don't test what I'm sharing. What that means is your tithing is a 10th that fertilizes your ground, and then your offerings of the feast that Yahweh asked you, they are the seeds that Yahweh wants you to lay in the ground that you've been fertilizing by your tithe. And then once your seed takes root, it produces voluminously and in perpetuity. And every time the seasons change, now you collect. Now you begin to collect and bring in at the season of ingathering. Okay, here's what the season of harvesting rendered, and here is what we have at the end to carry us through the winter months, to get us to the spring, to start the cycle all over again. So remember, the blessings help you keep the cycle going. We don't stop working until he returns. Will I find faith in the earth when I return? We are to endure until he gets here. We are to do the very same thing he's been asking us to do until he returns. It's really simple. We make it deeper. Going out to Mars and going up to Venus to live there wasn't in my contract. I can't find it nowhere in my contract. Y'all want to go up there? Arrivederci. See you later. He gave me this. He gave me this ground to till, and until he brings the New Jerusalem down, I ain't leaving this one. Yo, you could go. You go right ahead. Enjoy all the musk you want. I ain't got no time for Station Elon. Y'all go with it. That ain't what I'm going to. I'm staying right here where he put me. I'm gonna mind my business. Somebody say, mind your business. M-I-N-E. Mind your business. M-I-N-E. Mind your business. I'm staying right here. And as long as I'm here, I got a job to do. Blessings help me do the job. They don't reward me for it. That's where Christianity really screwed us up. We think that when you get a blessing, oh, God done bless me. Look what I can do. What he blessed you with, mother, father, business owner, was for you. Watch this. Y'all ever heard the term being blessed to be a blessing?
That part, sir.
Anybody else? Anybody ever heard that? I'm blessed to be a blessing.
Yeah.
Well, blessing is associated to helping, empowering. One phrase for blessing in the Hebrew says that you are empowered to prosper. When you are blessed, you are empowered to prosper. It doesn't mean you are prospering. It means you're empowered to prosper if you use it the way Yahweh says to use it. It will cause you to prosper, and in your prospering, to whom much is given, much is required. So when I send you laborers into the field, you have the means to dress them to do what you're doing. So the blessing is now your blessing, you're dressing, you're equipping them to be as obedient to Elohim as you are. And now we have a commonwealth. Everybody has the same thing. Everybody does the same thing. Everybody's moving in the same way, though we are uniquely and wonderfully made. And this is the concept that Christianity has allowed for the kingdom to not be able to propagate because we don't understand commonwealth. We think that when I get blessed, oh, it's me, my four, and no more. Gimme, 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 gimme. Bless me. I'm the man of God. Come give it to me. No. If I am blessed, it's because to whom much is given, much is required of me to see others who are converting and coming in. And we're able to say, hey, you seem like you've been consistent. Hey, let's take this a little bit we got over here and dress them the same way we're dressed, give them the same tools we have, and help them to get what we got. And then we can see to whom much is given. You're going to bless me. He's going to cause men to give in my bosom, good measure, pressed down, running together, because Yahweh can trust me to make sure I disseminate these blessings, these tools to them who are really trying to do the work. Oh, y'all never heard that in Christendom, did y'all? Let me help y'all where you can find it. In the book of Acts, where you saw all this foolishness we've seen over the last 20, 30 years about people stomping on money on pulpits because you bring money to the apostles. The apostles did not take that money and use it. So when the disciples were told, they said, let's talk about Ananias and Sapphira. In the moment that Ananias dropped dead and then his wife came in later and she dropped dead, we know that was because the teachings of the apostles were a commonwealth Messiah teaching. Once he began to teach them that, they began to prosper in the cities that they were camped in. Then they would see new converts coming, but they were broken down. They were without. A lot of people, just like your modern day Christians, just like anybody getting off of an addiction, I do this work for real. They come and say, oh, I just want to be free and I want to be saved. And they come and they join the church, and they may see the prosperity or they may see the sustainability and the commonplace security of the congregation at large and be like, yeah, I want to be a part of this, right? But they only want to be a part of this to get what they got. They don't want to be a part of this to be a part of this. They want to be a part of this to get a reprieve and get a rest and then get a blessing and then go. No, that's not what commonwealth is about. So what they did in the book of Acts, the Ananias and Sapphira story, I'm going to give you the brief, quick version. What they did was they said, every man who has now been prospering based on these teachings, we want you to lay aside outside of our common amassing. So let's talk about that. Everybody in the church of the, I'm saying this just as an analogy, just as a visual. So if everybody in the church that the apostles were running after Messiah died, everybody in that region, the widows and the fatherless and the parents and the people of the church of the apostles, they all had one house, 5-bedroom home, 2-car garage. They even had a garage port for the golf cart. They all had a pool. They all had, 5 acres of land. They all had a storage silo. They all had a farm. So everybody, or a business, some facsimile thereof, so they all had equality. They all had 85-inch TVs in their homes. They all had Celium mattress, Posturepedic, bed memory and bed foam, and they all got marble. Everybody got the same thing in their houses. They could literally leave their houses unlocked because you stealing from me what you already got is stupid. So at end of day, we all got a common wealth. We have common wealth. We all got 2 cars with the 2-car garages. We all got golf courts. We all got little, what's them things you jump in outside your house, get your children jumping in on trampolines. Everybody got a trampoline. Everybody got a basketball, soccer court, goal in front of their yard. Everybody got good green, lush grass. Everybody got the same thing. Everybody got everything common. So when a new believer comes into the community, and as the community is now being exposed to this new believer is like, I really believe in the faith. And they're not like saying they want something, but the people in the community might break them off some bread. They see that they're struggling, a family of 5. It's hard. He's needing a new job. Someone may give him a job. All right. Now he's coming. He's been faithful coming to church. He's been faithful, not coming to the church for the church, but serving Elohim, keeping the feast, converting to the way that we live here. Once that happens, there is an actual account set up for people who made the conversion, who are real about the conversion, and we all can see the conversion, and they're living, making it. We will then all come together and barn build for this person, house build for this person. We may not give them the money, but we may take the resources of the account, go buy the wood, and tell them, hey, you guys are staying over there for right now. And the rest of the men and the women come together and we put up a house that's equal to all of our houses for these people to live in. Others who may be doing woodwork and cutting, mattress making, and stoves and quartz and marble and sheetrock all come over, and we all have a big day of putting together their house, putting together a silo in the back, laying out new sod, giving them, somebody may donate to them or contribute to them a 3-acre parcel of land and whatever else is necessary. Someone starts getting the pump going, and this person, because of their faith, we want them to not come into our sanctuary and feel less than anybody in it. We all came together with the tools in our pack, and we put them together to dress them so that they had the stability to make sure that they had what they needed, gave them a couple of goats, gave them a bull, gave them a donkey, whatever it may be, because we had that in excess. See, that's what happened in the book of Acts. That selling off the extra that they had and bringing that and putting it at the feet of the apostles was because to whom much is given, much was required. And these men were responsible enough to make sure when they saw people converted, they would help them meet the standard of the commonwealth. The apostles didn't take that money home and put it in their pocket and buy a jet. Did I tell too much?
Wow.
Brianna.
Did I tell too much?
No, not at all.
Reflects what's going on today.
So at the end of the day, the point is that's what commonwealth is about. That's what they did. That's what a blessing is. Now, how do we associate and utilize the blessings? We utilize the blessings by one, as of course, what you need to do is when Yahweh tells you where to sow, that's where you sow. and every prophet on TV and every prophet blew into your street at the corner store is not Yahweh telling you to sow into them. If your brother comes to you with a need, you have that in store. You've been responsible for what Yahweh has given you. And when the time comes, you will know. He will share with you what you need to do, how you need to do it. There are a lot of schemes and scams out there quoting God said, and you need to be conscious of that, because Yahweh has blessed all of you to be able to meet the sacrifices he wants every year at his appointed times. We just didn't use it for that first. One, because we haven't been taught this. Two, because we don't know how to handle money. Three, because we just braggadocious. Four, because we have a wrong impression of what being blessed means. So you like, wait a minute, Apostle, I just read he wants 7 lambs. I know he gave you 7 lambs 7 months ago. You just used it differently than you needed to. See, because what I've learned to do is when I see Yahweh give me a blessing, if there's an influx that comes in, I'm like, oh, okay. So I got a budget for that. He who counts up the cost. Okay. All right. Cool. You know what? This is my offering right here. I'm going to tuck this away, CD or bank it, wherever I got to put it. When the feast come, I'm ready 4 months in advance. I've already got the feast. I got the lamb. I got the bullock. I got the goat. I got the ram. I got the bread. I'm good. All right. And then as I'm preparing and putting that away, because it's been given, I'm telling Yahweh, you get your feast first. And then if there's anything left over, the feast don't get touched. None of that gets bothered. What's left over, then I pay my bills out of. And I always pay my bills. And then when the feast come, I don't appear before him empty, and I'm not embarrassed. And I don't embarrass anybody. I know I teach it every day, all day on purpose. I tell you to budget for it. But when we get it, we don't think about God first. We don't think about Elohim's commandment first. We're like, well, I get it. There'll be another chance. I got my income taxes and all this other stuff, and I got a raise due coming, and all that we do. And then when the time comes, we fall short. And we wonder why. Listen, Yahweh gives, listen, can I say this to y'all?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, please. Yes.
He gives bread to the eater. He gives seed to the sower. But if we're not going to eat the bread the way he says eat the bread, he don't give no more bread. If we don't sow the seed he gives us, then he doesn't give us more seed to sow. You know the phrase, throwing good money after bad? Yahweh's not in that business. That's why even with the young man in Matthew chapter 25, when he talked about the talents, he gave one talent based on their skill set, another 2 talents, another 5 talents. He gave 5 more to the man with the 5. He gave 2 more to the man with the 2, and he gave none to the man with the 1, because the man with the 1 did not sow it the way he said to sow it. He did it his way. Therefore, he took it from him and gave it to another man who he entrusted to sow. Yahweh gives seed to the sower. Y'all got that? Samantha Bozier, your statement is that the bull is not money. The bull, nor the goat, nor the lamb. They are, in fact, monetizing elements of the cultures that they lived in. When you had a bull, it equated into money because the bull broke up your ground. The bull crushed your incoming seed. It took the hulls off of the grain, whether it's barley or wheat. That's why you don't muzzle the ox that treads out the corn. So it is money. It's a monetary issue. If you take a bull from a family, you're taking a major part of their ability to, one, break up their ground so they can sow their seeds. And you have a yoke of bull, that's 2 bulls, that's 2 oxen. So it is a monetary issue. Lambs, goats, rams, You take their furs, you take their skins, you use their leather once they're dead, if that's the case. But you use them to make milk goats, to make wool lambs. They have looms. So if you had looms, you had a lot of sheep. That made you eat because you got meat, right? But you use that wool to make the wool looms, to make clothing, to make garments. So everything about the sacrifices that Yahweh asked us for are a part of a monetizing system. And this is where Christians modern day don't get that. They're like, well, so we should go grow. No, you can't go grow goats and ox. You need land to do that. And right now with the population on the planet, everybody, you just can't get land. And then you got to have there's a taxation. So the governments have taken over producing, meats, and it's wrong and crazy as it is. That's what they're doing. But in that day, they didn't have the regulations and the governmental implies that we have today. So it wasn't matter. Every person had a goat, a cow, a lamb, something that had udders that produced milk. They had goats that they would barter. So if you were a shepherd, you may have bartered away to get honey from a beekeeper. You may have bartered away to get gold from a smith. You may have bartered a lamb or a goat or an ox away to get weapons to protect your family. So this was exchange. This was currency. So the value of a bull today, the value of a lamb today, the value of a ram today is still very much prevalent, especially since these feasts and offerings we are to give in perpetuity throughout all your generations forever. Thus says Yahweh Tsabaoth. So that's what that's about. Good. I'm glad you catch that. Great statement, though. So does everybody understand that when Yahweh gives you a blessing, it's a blessing to get you from this to the next? Whatever's left over from the blessing, you may possibly use on your need. But we've been taking the blessings and using them and flossing and flexing, and then not having done the responsible thing, then we need a miracle. And Yahweh's like, well, I gave you what you needed. You just didn't budget it well. You try to hang out with the Joneses. Now, I'm a Jones. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, it is really an overrated experience. Y'all, it's an overrated experience. Listen, we work just as hard as anybody else on the planet. You hear me? Shoot, it's overrated. Now, the Joneses, we some good people. I mean, some of them, I try to be. Some of them I want to punch in the throat. But, trying to be like the Joneses, don't keep up with the Joneses. It's hard work keeping up with the Joneses. And if I find you following me, you could be endangering your life, because I don't like people following me. Like, what you following me for? Trolling me and looking over, trying to find out what I'm doing, counting my pockets and all that stuff. Yeah, that could be detrimental to your health, especially back in the day before I got saved, like for real saved. Anywho. So, Brianna, the blessings are always tools. And we don't realize it. Yahweh is telling us, listen, I brought you, listen to the, look at the sense of this, y'all. Really just break it down really slow. When Yahweh made man, he made man to till the ground. When man tills the ground, Yahweh says, take the harvest, give me a tenth, prepare for my offerings, and now go build your houses, go supply your needs, and go eat. That's our job. But we take care of him first, and whatever's left over, he uses for us to do a myriad of things. And because of the way the world has been, and you and I coming in millennia later, we don't understand anything. All we know is he who got the most money makes all the rules. All we know is he who got the gold makes the rules. All we know, he who got the most toys is the big dog, and you trying to live like they live. And I got to get a yacht. I got to get a plane. I mean, I want them. I will get them. But the reason I will get the yacht is for traveling purposes that carry this gospel. The reason I will get a plane is for traveling purposes to carry the gospel. The reason I get quality cars is to travel safely and securely, to carry this word soundly. It is not just to have sitting in a garage, you know, 2 Teslas, 5 Lamborghini, 3 Van Burens, you know, 6 Jaguars, and 4 Rolls Royces to say I got one to drive on every day of the week. I'm gonna buy a nice car, maybe 2, and no matter how nice it is, if it's a Rolls Royce, you're gonna see me at the Wawa with it. I bought the car because it's quality, not because it's a statement. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And I'm not fighting anybody who has gotten, you know, massive amounts of wealth and can afford to drive a car every day. It would be nice to do that. I don't know if it serves any real purpose.
Not.
So I can only drive one car at a time. I get driving an econo car and then driving a luxury car, but all my cars are going to be luxury because that's me. I am bougie. He made me bougie. I like nice things. I have the right to wear nice things. And so therefore, when I buy for my comfort, and I buy for practicality, and I drive and I have for functionality, for quality. I don't want to be broke down on the road. I don't want to have, you know, if I snag my coat on the door, it rips because the quality of the material is just poor. It doesn't know how to stay together. Blame my mom for teaching me fabric. And the fabrics that mattered cost more than Polly and Esther. Them twins get on my nerve. Did I tell you I don't like Polly and Esther? Polly and Esther get on my nerve. Now, every now and then they come to the barbecue and they bring a nice little salad. So every now and then Polly and Esther, they okay. But every day Polly and Esther, I don't want to mess with them chicks. You understand me? Until they graduate the broadcloth. I'm just putting it out there. Now, if you don't know what I just said, you don't know fabric. But when we have given to Elohim first, he causes good measure to be given to us. And then we in that same good measure mode. See, let me say this too about blessing. People, you know, people real shiesty. If I bless a person, if I'm eating at top quality restaurant, I'm not going to bless somebody at McDonald's and then brag about it. Now you eating at, you know, restaurant, you know, scale to 10, restaurant 1, and then you want to walk out restaurant 1 and see somebody hungry, say, oh, well, I'll take you to restaurant 10. No, I'm going to take you back to restaurant 1 and I'm going to give you what I ate. See, we don't understand what blessing look like. You don't bless somebody down. You bless somebody at that level. Otherwise, you're not helping them up.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're not giving them and esteeming them as highly as you esteem yourself. If it's your birthday and I come through, I'm gonna bless you the way that I would want to be blessed. It ain't going to be $6 and $8 unless that's all I got. But at the end of the day, I'm going to bless you the way I'm blessed. If I wear a certain type of garment or clothing and I think that you might like it and you mention you like it, I'm not going to go buy you the knockoff. I'm going to buy you the original. I'm going to empower you the way that I live. And so people get blessing twisted. We start blessing people and we bless them less than we would take ourselves. I remember, and this was the blessing of my life, I remembered my children, we were all young. I was young. My wife was young. We were in a place in Jersey. We were literally living in a very nice home, but I was surrounded by farmers all around me, and they are an interesting group of people. They are good people, and they're wealthy people. So I'm out there, and I thought I heard God say, you know, you can no longer sell beer and sell Christ at the same time. So I quit my job and I put my family and our savings at risk. And I was living off my savings, and now I was being depleted. And I'm praying, God, okay, God, I did everything you said. I'm giving my offering. I'm giving my tithing. I wasn't doing the feast and stuff. But I'm like, I'm giving my offering. I'm giving my tithing. I'm doing this, and I'm tithing my own way. You know, I'm tithing like the Bible says 10%. I was tithing like 30%. I felt if I tithe more, God would see me. You know, that's what I thought. Yahweh only wants what he wants. Somebody say, give him what he wants. Say it. Say, give him what he wants.
Give him what he wants. What he wants.
We had this thing, and some of y'all fall victim to this, you know, tithing, 30%. Yahweh didn't ask for 30%. He said, give me a 10th. That's all I need. So all I need you to do is give me what I asked for. I'm tithing 30%. I'm like, God, shoot, he gonna see me. I'm a jump up in line because I'm tithing 30%, And guess what? I still had to pray to God to get me diapers and get me food. So this one day, I was about to go out for street ministry, had the van and everything set up. And I cried that morning. I'm like, Father, we got hot dogs. We doing the beanie weenie meals. You hear me? We doing the beanie weenie meals. By the way, I miss the beanie weenie meals. I think I may have just triggered what I'm gonna have for dinner. So let me go find me a beef hot dog. I'm gonna have the beanie weenies, that's baked beans, down home baked beans with some maple syrup and some brown sugar and some onions. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. And maybe if I feel like a little bit of rice on the side, and cut the beef hot dogs up in it, put it down inside and stir it up. Sometimes throw the rice in and stir it up too. And I gotta go. I'll see y'all later. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, so anyway, let me think. So we doing the beanie weenie meals back then, right, with the children, and we got children. And I need milk. I need, my wife wasn't producing enough milk to feed the hungry behind daughter we had at that time. That girl drank more milk than a little bit. Anywho, until we figured out how to breastfeed at a high rate, we had to buy some, substitutionary, Enfamil and all that. Y'all know milk is expensive for babies, diapers and all that stuff that went along with a young family. Detergent. Shoot. And so I was crying. I was like, Father, I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna go out here. And I had holes in my shoes. Now I've left a management job, and within 8 months, I have depleted my whole savings, trying to maintain the mortgage, the car notes, the insurances, and everything, being responsible. I got holes in my shoes. I'm putting cardboard pieces inside my shoe so that the leather on the bottom my feet don't touch through that. I'm making stuff work. I've learned how to tighten my belt and sew stuff together. Mom taught me well. Thank you, Mama. Love you. So and so I'm crying that morning, and I'm like, Father, what do I do? And I don't have enough. I don't know where this is Saturday morning. I'm about to go about 40 miles away to do street ministry and pick up the people on the way. And I got the speakers and the microphones and the tent and all the stuff in the van. I got to go to pick up 15 people. The church is paying for the gas. Hallelujah. But I'm broke, and all my bills are paid, but food ain't there for the children. I didn't tell nobody. I had told not a soul, because I don't tell my problems. Yahweh provides. Now I was weak in faith, and I'm like, okay, well, I didn't give you my tithing. I was tithing wrong. First off, I didn't give you offerings. Every time a prophet came through, I gave 50, 10, 13, whatever money I had in my pocket. Just give your best offering. I'm dumping lint in the thing in the offering plate. We turning purses up. Remember back in those days, y'all did that stuff. You pulling out. You got anything in my shirt pocket? You looking to find it in your suit pocket. You're looking for stuff. You run out to the car, pull your whole ashtray, because you don't smoke no more. You got ashtray. You got change in your ashtray. Some of y'all got it right now. I brought my whole ashtray in and dumped it in the thing, because the prophet said, "Give to the Lord." If it don't meet a need, then it's got to be a seed. And I fell victim to all that stuff. But I love God. Now, see, for me, when I went to the car to get the change out of my cigarette ashtray, it added a whole new meaning to change is gonna come. I went to my car, get it, change was coming out the car to the offering plate. Okay, y'all, I am funnier. I'm funnier than y'all saying. It adds a whole new meaning to change is gonna come. All right, since y'all don't get that because y'all bougie, now y'all bougie. So here's the catch. I'm crying. I'm in prayer. I don't want my wife to see me crying. I don't want my children to see me crying. I'm a man. And I'm like, Father, I don't know what to do. I got the van, put on my cardboard packed shoes. It's snowing. It's not snowing, but it just snowed and it was clear. We could still do it. Roads were cleared up. We went out faithfully to street ministry. You hear me? So when y'all hear me talk about it, I'm talking from experience. So we went out, did the street ministry, and I came back and I was fretting. I knew I wasn't going to eat that night. And whatever was in there for the children to eat, pudding pops, pudding, oatmeal, cream of wheat, whatever was there, I hope there was some sugar or some honey or something. Whatever it was, we were going to eat what was in there, and that was going to be it because I didn't have anything. I wasn't calling nobody for nothing, not even my family, my parents, nothing, my mom, nothing. When I got back from delivering street ministry that afternoon, I got home. On my back porch were 12 bags, grocery bags. There was a place used to be called Eat More's, and it was a place in the country where the farmers went and butchers were there, real butchers with real livestock, real grain, real sweet corn, New Jersey style silver corn, Jersey tomatoes, Jersey strawberries, Jersey peppers. I'm missing Jersey. If you don't know, you don't know. And so this is Eat More. This is where you came and you got from the farmers' harvests. And so someone had dropped off, just put them on my back porch. And I broke down and cried in the driveway. My son was he was only my oldest son. I just got him to live with us. My younger baby was with me and my daughter. But I'm tearing up and I'm trying to be cool. And I'm like, yeah, I hit my finger, on my face. So he helped me get the stuff out the car, went inside, and we put the bags in. As I'm going through the bags, this is how you bless somebody. Now, one item in there was government cheese. Not one item was No Thrills, nothing against it. But this is what they did. Whoever this was that blessed me at and I know who it is now. They blessed me at the level that they lived. They didn't go into the store to shop for themselves and then said, oh, well, let me get, God has put this on my heart. And then they went and if they had Peter Pan peanut butter, Skippy peanut butter, they got me Peter Pan, Skippy peanut butter. They didn't give me the ShopRite version. They didn't give me the Publix version. They didn't give me the Kroger version. They didn't give me the Walmart version. They got me the brand names that they got, and they brought those 13 bags to my porch and fed our family that way. Didn't know who they were for a long time. They revealed themselves through a meeting we had, and then we talked about testimonies, and I did something to them. I didn't know that they were the ones who blessed me, but the way I blessed them at a time later they were going through, they were like, man, did you know that I was the one? I'm like, get out of here. Because whatever, we were just talking about blessings and look how God works. You didn't know that I blessed you. And that's why I don't tell my blessings to anybody. When I bless people, I don't broadcast it. We don't get on camera and TV and say, hey, we're blessing this person. Do you love Jesus? Here's $200 because you said you love Jesus. No, just give it to them. If you're going to give it to them, stop playing games. Oh, we're giving out gas. Just give the gas. While they're getting gas, just show up, put your card in, pump it for them and say, hey, be blessed. Go about your way. Look, y'all, we want y'all to know what we doing down here. We down here at 13th Street, and we giving out free gas. If that's what you do, God be with you. But that ain't what I'm told. I do my alms. An alm is when you bless someone else. An alm is when you help empower someone else. An alm is when you know someone is in need. You just help them with it. You don't go bragging about it, putting it on social media and lighting up, you know, your church announcements, talking about we giving away bread. You just give the bread away. Stop telling everybody what you're doing. That's what you do. You do your alms in secret, and God, our Elohim, who sees in secret, rewards you openly. But if you're doing all that openly, where's your reward? Oh, because you get people just like you to come gather at your church, and y'all do that. That's your reward. Good luck with that, because now you got power struggles for the rest of your ministry. I said that out loud because I'm who I am. So when we talk about blessings, understand when you bless somebody, you don't bless them while you shopping and you buying Skippy peanut butter with the extra crunchy, and then you go buy them the Acme or the ShopRite version, you know, the one with the white thing and got the little red strip at the top, talking about no frills on it. You don't buy, that's not what you do. Well, they need it, so I got enough to get them this. This is different when you really managing, but you bless at the same level you live. Make that a quote. Bless at the same level you live. All right, so Bree, I hope I've answered your question in a roundabout way and a direct way.
Yes, sir. I had another question.
Quickly.
Thank you. How do you know when you've been liberated?
Liberation is a process of life, beloved. You don't look for the hallmark. I didn't know I was liberated until I realized I wasn't crying anymore. I didn't know I was liberated. I just kept living the life I was instructed. I just kept complying. You don't know you're liberated until one day you wake up and you realize I'm liberated. And what we've done in Christendom is like we've put this time frame on Elohim. And it could be the next day, it could be the next year. You don't really know you're liberated until you realize I've not had to ask anybody for help. All because I had my head down, working the work of him that gave me work to do and not worrying about anything other than getting Yahweh straightened out. And he's causing people, while I got my head down, to fill in the backs where I might have missed it and to fill in the front where I wasn't paying attention. And before I realize it, I look up, people are being blessed because of my hands to their work and the work we do together. And then I realize I've not gone without. Matter of fact, I got a little bit extra. And now I'm looking for somebody who don't have what I have to make sure that they have the commonwealth I got. And when we all on the same level, and we all on the same page, and we're all able to do the same things, we have a much better party. It's really strange. And I think that Yahweh put me at a time in life where it's really interesting, because, you know, when you at a party, and even in my dope boy days and being a OG in the streets and whatnot, you know, you might throw a party for everybody. You got a couple boys who's like you at your level, got your clout, got your status, and then you inviting other people to come and have a party. But you got to watch who you done brought into the party, because they looking to get a come up. They looking to get a hit on a lick. They looking to make sure they can take you off, and then they can become the next top boy. So now you got lives at stake. You got to manage things differently. You don't know who's coming in, who's flossing like they got it, but they really don't got it because they scheming on you. And to get into your presence, they got to look a little bit like you. So they done stole clothes from somebody else or stole clout from somewhere else to get in, to look like they you, so they can steal from you. You don't know who you are dealing with. But when everybody has everything common, man, that's the most easy party to have. Everybody around you's having fun. Everybody wants to go home. I just taught y'all a real street game, and y'all, I hope y'all caught that. And that same street game is being played in your church. Every conference. We in here faking it till we making it. Oh, sorry. The new buzzword is we're faithing it till we make it. And that's disrespectful to Elohim. If you do faith, you live by faith, you overcome. You don't have to faith it till you make it. The fact that you're in faith means his promises are yea and amen. They're going to come. They're going to get you. You just got to remain consistent. So faithing it till you're making it that way, I'm good with you. But the fake it till you make it, like video vixens and DJs and rappers renting the car that's in the video making you think, if you're not smart enough to know it's just a story they're telling, you as a impressionable child or youth think that they own that. And then when you go and you meet your hero from this video, you realize they don't own that. And the worst thing you can do in some cases is meet your hero. So at the end of the day, it ain't about faking it till you're making it. And so you don't know you're liberated until you're actually in the promised land. Israel did not know, Brianna, very good question. Israel did not know they were liberated until they were. But watch this. They were literally liberated the day they first saw the promised land and they doubted it. Then they had to go through the 40 years of the wilderness. And even through that, they had been doing that routinely so long, they became complacent and they didn't realize they were liberated until 40 years later, they were sitting on the edge of Jericho for like the 37th time. And this time they crossed over. So when people do like we do in Christendom, we put these time frames on Elohim's working. Yahweh don't work the way we do. One thing you will know is that you're provided for in him whenever you comply with him. The liberation to where you're able to make your own calls and your own shots, and you can determine how much and who and when and where and how long, that's a different element. That's liberation. Being free in him is being compliant to his will. Whenever you comply to his will, you give him what he wants, you will find by looking up one day saying, you know, I don't know when the last time I was late paying my cell phone bill. I ain't had to ask for an extension on the light bill, and I don't even remember going down and asking for special prayer for the healing of my body. When's the last time I had to go and ask the pastor and catch him coming out the driveway and say, can y'all help me with my mortgage and my rent? When's the last time it's been, when's the last time I got to write up on my job? See, that's liberation. That's an effect of liberation. Does that make sense, Brianna?
It makes perfect sense, sir.
I hope that answered your question. That makes sense to anybody else out there? Did y'all learn something?
Yes, made perfect sense. Thanks, Apostle.
All right, y'all got me for 2.5 hours up here today on this day. We're supposed to be reading the written. We ain't read, but Genesis 28:11. All right, Brianna, got your questions. Who was next? Anybody else had a thought or question? We got to cut it off. Who was it?
Yes, the author had another question. He said this might be a bad illustration, but if a man impregnates two women, different women, around the same time, and the women are virgin, and they both have boys, would both have be firstborn?
No, that's not a bad analogy, bro. Actually, because it's the first that cracks the matrix. So the family of the mother is, if they're not together, and especially in our concept when we are monogamous in marriage, now there is a birthright for the firstborn that cracks the matrix. So moving the human analogy out and bringing a herd. So let's use sheep. So if one stud, or let's use a bull, you got a lot of cows, you got few studs. So you got one bull and you got cows. So if that one bull goes down and impregnates two virgin cows, there are two birthrights, two firstborns. So the same analogy for the humanity. The seed giver gives seed, but the birthright is the first one born, the first to crack the matrix. So that implies the female factor. So you can't even get this birthright unless you got a semen giver and a semen carrier. Good question. Do y'all get that?
Yes.
Okay, this is why we do Bible Book Club. Do y'all realize how far across the Bible we've gone?
Yes.
Didn't sound encouraging. All right. Well, I hope that you guys are joined back in with us again. We'll be back here next Thursday. We did stop at Genesis chapter number 28. We stopped at verse 10 because I didn't want to go into verse 11. Because verse 11 starts to talk about Jacob's journey to Laban, and then we're going to talk about what happened when he got to Laban. But I will say this in chapter 27, down here, when Esau made this statement, I'm going to go to verse 39, and then we'll let you guys go. Verse 39 says, and Isaac his father answered him and says, behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above, and by your sword, verse 40, pay attention to this, y'all, and by your sword shall you live. Y'all notice that? And shall serve your brother. Watch this. And it shall come to pass when you shall have dominion by your sword, that in that you shall break your brother's yoke off of your neck. Now, verse 41, I want to see if y'all catch this. In verse 41, Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. See, Christendom taught y'all that Esau hated Jacob because Jacob stole the blessing. That's not why Esau hated Jacob. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing daddy put on Esau. See, Jacob's blessing was the blessing of the firstborn, and the dew of heaven was placed upon him, and he was where he was. But look very carefully at this understanding in verse 41. Esau hated Jacob because the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. What does that mean? Go back to verse 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall you serve your brother. Now, everybody say this if you can, and type it in. I don't care what you do, but say Jacob is Israel. This is important before you think you can botch this up theologically. I want you to catch this. Jacob is Israel. Say that. Jacob is Israel.
Jacob is Israel.
Now watch this. He says in verse 40, this is what Isaac says to Esau after Jacob has already left. Esau cries for a blessing from his father, and his father musters up these words. By the sword shall you live, Esau, meaning that you are a man of war. You're going to be a man of war. And if you know the history truly of Esau, Edom, Esau is Edom. If you know the history, they got all they got through war. I'm going to keep reading until somebody says, wow. Verse 40 says, and by thy sword shall you live, and that's how you're going to serve your brother. Now, what many of you don't know is that Edom was very essential in David even establishing the tabernacle, the temple, once he switched it from the tabernacle to the temple. Pay attention. Watch. He says, you're going to live by that sword. That's how you're going to serve your brother. And it will come to pass when you get dominion because of your sword, that power will be what breaks the yoke of your brother's subserviency over you. And to this day, those nations war with each other. This is why I want Christian pastors and leaders to understand the history of the Torah and the church, not just the New Testament history of the church. The Torah, the words in those first 5 books, set the foundation and the plating and the foundational plating for everything we call and consider faith. So when you read I'll say the Bible all the way through, you begin to see the different nuances that Yahweh had put in place for us to follow. You want to call them crumb trails? You can. But he made it very clear. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing Esau now has to live under. Now, if you were here with us earlier, you knew what Jacob did to Esau when he left Laban's house. We jumped ahead in the story, but we did that to bring you into a concept of understanding of just how responsible Jacob was. Even though we call him a supplanter and a liar and a heel grabber, and he called his mom a gold digger, the whole 9 yards. It's important for you to read the writ, read the story, understand the prophecies before you just start propagating things out of your mouth because you want to teach Jesus. When Yeshua is in this storyline. So verse 40 again, by the sword you're going to live, Esau. You're also going to serve your brother. It's going to come to pass that when you shall have dominion because of what you get by your sword, you're going to break his yoke off of your neck. Welcome to a lot of the problems in the Middle East. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him with. And Esau then said in his heart, you know, the days of my father's mourning are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Now, one other point that I want y'all to catch. Do y'all realize that in verse number 41, he states, the days of my father's mourning are at hand. Now, as a grief counselor and one who does as many funerals as I do, I want y'all to understand the importance of being around your loved ones, particularly the matriarchs and patriarchs or whoever may be authoritative figures in your life, you pastors, leaders, whatever. Mourning does not begin when someone dies. Did y'all pay attention to that?
Yes.
I'm going to try it again. Mourning does not begin when someone dies. Yeah. This is why we don't really understand the value, not of hospice, but of being around our matriarchs and our patriarchs, because they pretty much know. He knows his time is at hand. So he is saying, while I still have consciousness of mind, though I've lost my sight, I still have consciousness of mind. I'm still crisply thinking. Let me put the blessing on the birthright, the firstborn, now. And this way I can, of sound mind and clear will, guide them rightly. It's at the time when such a patriarch or matriarch knows that their dawn is has come. Okay, their dusk, not the dawning, but their dusk of their days have come. That you begin to mourn them. Mourning is not that's grief. Mourning is a realizing the virtue and the power and the experience that you've had with them in your life. So there's a time long before Esau or Yitzhak is actually dead that they start the mourning process for their patriarch. It's many years later that daddy dies. Many years later. Many years later. He ate many good venison after that. But when the time of succession comes in, and you've now placed the successor in action, is when you start to mourn the previous regime. But that mourning helps you with the grief because you're already expecting the transition. And if we can get Christians to stop freaking out at funerals and being so selfish about death and realize that death is as much a part of life as life is, we would stop having these ridiculous funerals of people who can't control their emotions because they never took time to love the person while they were alive, and then want to have this demonstration of grief when they're dead, and there's nothing you can do at that point. So if you don't know the people, if you're not hanging out with the people, if you're not living with them, there's no way you can begin proper mourning. You would think, like we've been taught within our world of Christendom, and not just Christendom, and just the world we live in general, which is, basically driven by it. We start mourning when the person's dead, or maybe in hospice. And hospice doesn't mean they're going to die. Hospice is just a place where they care and say, we don't know what else to do. Yahweh can still pick them up and bring them out. I know many people that I know of that came out of hospice. Yeah. Mourning does not begin at death. Mourning should begin when you realize that sun is setting on another person's life, and you should clamor to get near them to get as much wisdom from them as you can before they can no longer communicate effectively what is in their very packed brain and their heart of wisdom. I hope that made sense to some of you.
Yes, it did.
All right, we'll come back at Genesis chapter 28 next week, verse number 11. I'll need someone to remind me where we start, because I'll be in other teachings all week long. I hope you guys have been blessed and been given some understanding about these things. I am an hour and a half over our schedule, y'all. Y'all must have had some. Y'all must have been looking for some answers today. Hope you've been blessed. All right. So before we get out of here, any last words before we sign out and sign off? All right, let's take opportunity to pray, shall we? Father, we thank you for the day, the time, the space. We thank you for your word. Your word alone is what we live by. We thank you for the opportunity to understand you from the sense of both your language of choice and your intentions for life and humanity. We repent of any and all sins and thoughts, and anyone who doesn't know you, Father, we simply give our lives over to you. We ask you to keep us and cover us as we surrender to you. We ask you to hold us as we need you. We have no strength without you. We love you to life, and we need your life to have life. I pray now, every question that's been asked, every answer that's been given, if anything's been done and spoken of in error of your writ, I pray you now strike it from the mind and the memory. Let only the truth of your word saturate and mature the minds of your believers. This is our earnest prayer. Now may Yahweh bless you all and keep you. May Yahweh make his face to shine on you and be gracious unto you. May Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and grant all of you all 13 attributes of his shalom. This we pray now in the precious and the matchless in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. We pray and we say, Amen.
If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken. If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken.